Alright, so this is just going to be a quick, brief review of the first episode of Ash vs. Evil Dead, which is named, I believe, El Jefe. Wow. Just fucking wow. It takes place 30 years after the first two Evil Dead movies, so it kind of draws away from Army of Darkness. But I will have to say that it does have a lot of over-the-top action, or violence I should say, pretty much like the Evil Dead standards. Although I think of the first Evil Dead as a straight-up horror film, a cult classic straight-up horror film. Evil Dead 2, I think of it as more of a dark horror comedy, sort of bits of horror, bits of comedy blended in nicely together, whereas Army of Darkness just took it straight up action adventure comedy. This one it's all three put together, I think. There are bits in the TV show which it didn't scare the fucking shit out of me, but it made me jump a few times. There's a scene where it pays a good homage to the first Evil Dead movie, where Scott pulls back the shower curtain to reveal nothing there. But Ash pulls back some washing on a washing line, pulls it back and finds a deadite just staring like an old granny deadite just staring at him, whose name was Vivian. This old lady just staring back at him as a deadite, and I thought that was just it scared me. And then there's a scene in Ash's trailer where again pays homage to Evil Dead, the first one, where it just goes silent, and then an arm bursts through the window and grabs this woman, I forgot her name, and it was a good homage to the first Evil Dead movie, because at the end of the film, before he says Linda, the clock starts ticking and everything, and then it just goes silent. The clock stops ticking, and then Cheryl bursts through the door and grabs Ash both sides. So there was that. There were a few moments that made me cringe, like the scissors going into the police officer's hand. That was like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, no, fuck, So it was one of those moments. There was another moment where Vivian the Deadite was had the woman up against the cabinet, and she was like going like this into her eye and everything. It was like, fuck, don't. But yeah, it was so fucking good. But anyway, back to the story. Ash is working. He's not working at S-Mart anymore. He's working at something called. It's like a value store. It's still a shopping mall, but it's not S-Mart. It's I think it's called Value or something, and or Value Smart. It's something Value. He's working there, and I've never laughed so hard while watching a TV series. But his manager says to Ash, he says to him, "You be careful with those light bulbs." And he goes, "Oh yeah, sure." And he picks up the box over his shoulder, but the box was open, and the light bulbs just go fucking everywhere on the floor, end up breaking, and then he has to try and hide them and everything. Oh my god, it was so funny. But notice how I'm like reviewing this in pieces, because I've only just seen it. I can't review it from start to finish. The first episode wasn't that long, but it was good. Nonetheless, it was good. The first scene that made me laugh, because I saw the first 4 minutes. Was it 4 minutes or a few minutes? I saw the first few minutes on Facebook. Ash, and he goes on this bullshit story of, he puts his wooden hand on the table just like that. He just puts his hand on the table and goes, "You should never stick your hand in front of a train." And then this woman's like, yeah, okay. And then Ash says something like about a little boy being on the tracks and how he saved the boy and everything. And yes, Ash ends up having a shag in the bog, but with a deadite. But I'm not too sure if that is actually a deadite or it could be his mind playing tricks on him. I think it was his mind playing tricks on him. But yeah, she ended up being a deadite, and the things she came out with were but holy shit! I've just noticed. Oh my fucking god! I've just noticed that I've got a blue shirt on, and he was wearing. Oh Jesus Christ! I've just noticed. That was not intentional. That was not intentional. I swear to God. Oh my God, I've just noticed. Jesus Christ. But the other opening scene that I really liked was where the two police officers go into this house and they're investigating it. All is quiet until they come across. It's like the scene in The Others. It's like, are you mad? I am your daughter. You know that one. This girl's under a sheet. The police officer removes the sheet and looks like a normal girl. He's like, oh yeah, just the house has been raided. She's frightened and everything. She takes cover under a sheet. She's a deadite. I was just saying, like, anyone who looked a bit suspicious or looked human. Looked human but suspicious. I was going, you're a fucking deadite. I know it. I've been growing up watching these films. I know you're a deadite. And then it obviously turned out to be a deadite, and it was kind of like The Exorcist, because it's like she was facing her back to the window. She said this weird thing, and I noticed she had like a tattoo on her wrist and everything, and she said this weird thing, like a summon or something. She turns her neck all the way around, like 360 degrees from front to back, and it starts like dislocating her body and everything, and walking towards the police officers, making scary noises or deadite noises, and then the police officer starts shooting. One police officer gets impaled on the horns. He becomes a deadite and starts crawling on the ceiling. And the girl deadite who is under the sheet gets her brains blown off. That scene made me jump, because she just popped out of nowhere and with half of her brain, kind of like Evil Ed. Heather was going to show Evil Ed in Evil Dead 2 with half of his brain just wandering around the cabin with just like half of his face. They should have left that scene in Evil Dead 2. But that's where I'm going to leave the review. It ends on a high note. I cannot wait for the second episode. This was a quick review. I explained as much as I could. So yeah, definitely go check out Ash vs Evil Dead. I'll put the link in the description where I watched it, and you can definitely watch it there. Wow. Can't wait for the second episode. Groovy.